Hi, this is Trinesha Cottrell, and today I wanted to talk about receive. So, what made me want to talk about receive is earlier today when I first woke up this morning, I was spending some time alone with God. First, I did my prayer, my grateful, thankful thing. If you don't know, I have this whole schedule and thing that I do in my life. So every day I try to be intentional. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do is thank God and I tell him how grateful I am to be able to breathe, to see, to speak, to smell, to taste, to hear, things like that. And to be able to use my voice as a vessel, as an oracle for God's kingdom whenever he intends to use me, so that I can glorify the kingdom in whatever way he sees fit. And so as I'm sitting here thanking God and everything, then I go and I do, my yoga, which a lot of people probably will say something about or like have their ideas about it. But as I do yoga, I listen to Dappy T Keys. So if you haven't like followed him or anything, I'm not saying it to shout him out because I'm trying to like give, you know, point people another direction or whatever else. But as I was healing and going through things, the music that he plays, he's a pianist. And so he plays a lot of spiritual, like religious songs. So songs that you might have heard, like old school, like Christian songs from the church or whatever else, is the type of music that he plays, but it's all on the piano, it's all instrumental, and it's really relaxing. And so whenever I'm like in a moment or I really need God or I mean, I talk to God regularly anyways, and I do tell him about my day, or I just sit there and listen so I can kind of seek his face and kind of get a guide on what he wants me to do in life so I don't just run off, and do whatever I feel like doing. I do what God wants me to do that will glorify the kingdom. And so sometimes I have some moments and I'll just be like, okay, it seems rough or it seems like something's going on in my life or whatever else. And I will take a moment and I'll put on Dappy T Keys. And as I was going through this healing journey, the music that he plays really helped me like take a moment with God and really just seek him and try to like block out the world and not what everybody else was saying or how I should be dating these people super soon because it's been such and such time or whatever else. It really allowed me to see like I need to wait on God's timing and not just my timing or what someone else says or what someone else did, because what works for someone else is not going to work for me because we're two totally different people. Am I saying that some of the things that I do to heal may never help someone else? No, they may help someone else. I'm not saying that you can't pull pieces of things that help other people to be able to put it and implement it in your life. I'm saying that your journey is different than somebody else's. That may be helpful to you, but the things that God intends for you to do to get through it or to go this place or work at this place or work with this company or work with these people might not be the same as somebody else because you might be able to reach a different audience than another person. Your story might be unique to certain people and help them in that way. So I can't just look at some other person who's doing something similar to me and say, okay, I need to do exactly what they're doing. I could use their story as inspiration. I could use, techniques or things that they use to heal and it could help me in certain areas of my life as I'm healing as well. But I can't just copy paste what God told them to do as my instruction for my life because God is the one who instructs me to do things in my life, not a person. And so like they might quit their job, just for example. God might say I need to be at my job because I need to be Christ-like and showing what Christ-likeness is in my job. I might need to be the voice of reason. I might need to be inspiration. I might need to be pouring into someone else or speaking life into someone else. And me being there might help me become a better boss when my business grows, or it might help me see the type of characteristic traits or attributes that I want in being a boss or something like that. And when I say boss, some people have like these, it's like so many words on a list of things that are like triggers for a bunch of other people. And I don't mean it in any negative way. I just mean someone who is like a supervisor, someone who is, a supervisor over a program, over a company, whatever else it is, as a boss. I don't mean like I'm a boss and I got everything on my own and I don't need anybody else. That's not what I mean at all. I need people because God will use people to help me. He will use people to inspire me. He will use people to open doors for me that I can't open on my own. He will use people so that I can be in a relationship with a person, whether it's a friendship, like it's a person who I become friends with, or it's a person who I am in business with, or it is a person who I'm in a romantic relationship with. I will need people in my life. And I'm not saying I will need them more than God. God is the one that I need the most. But He will also use other people to help me as I journey through my life. And when I say boss, I just mean supervisor. I do not mean that God is not going to use certain people in my life to teach me, to grow me, to inspire me, to instruct me, to help me, because that's what they're there for. They're there to help glorify the kingdom, because we don't do anything alone. God always intends for you to do things with other people. He always intends for you to work on that business with the help of whatever it is, whether it's an investor or a person who has a company that shows you how to run a successful company, whether it's a person who comes into your life that teaches you a lot about who you really are so that you can become a better person. Whatever it is, you will need people. And so as I was spending some time with God this morning, and I really seek His face, and I listened to Dappy T Keys while I did my yoga, and I spent some time reflecting, and I heard God say, you need to be willing to receive. And I'm only saying this because I don't want to be that person that just says, God told me. I'm just saying this because I think it might help somebody else who is either guarded and not guarding your heart, because that's biblical, but it's so guarded that you're not allowing the right people in. And earlier today, as I was doing yoga, and I was just like, God, I just need you. And He's like, that's exactly where I want you to be. I also need you willing to receive. I need you close. And I need you obedient, intentional. And as God said that, I was like, I am, willing to receive. And He's like, no, I need you willing to receive everything. Some things may not make sense. Some things are going to be feeling like they come out of nowhere. Some things are going to be something that you want, and you might feel like you don't deserve it. But if I'm giving it to you, receive it. Receive all of the blessings that I'm giving you. Receive all of the people that I've allowed to be a part of your life. Because I have this prayer that I say to God, and I always want Him to keep the people in my life who need to be there. And any person who's not supposed to be a part of my life, I always ask God to remove them. Even if I like them, even if I want them so badly, even if I can't imagine somebody else being better than this person, no matter what the circumstance is. And if I'm weak, or if I feel like I can't do it on my own, I ask God, even for the people who I'm too weak to remove on my own, because I want them because of my own selfish need, or I want them because, I feel like this is what I want, or this is what should be happening. But if it's not God, I don't want it. So when it's really difficult for me to let go of that job or that person or whatever else, God, I don't care if you need to make it so that I have no choice but to leave the job. Make it so that I have no choice, so that I'm being obedient to you. If it's a person and they seem like they're perfect, and that person's not supposed to be in my life, remove them. Do whatever it is that you have to do. And it's so funny because I will meet certain people or whatever else, and it'll seem like they're perfect, or not perfect like God, but they'll seem like they they are the things that I would want in a relationship or as a person. And out of nowhere, it's just like things don't work out. I either say the wrong thing or things just don't work out, and it's so random. And I shouldn't say it's random, it's God. Because if it was up to me, I would be with that person, and I don't know what I would be getting myself into, when God could have something better for me or both of us. Like, we might seem like decent people or whatever else, but maybe that I'm not grace for that person. Maybe that person is not grace for me. And so you could sit there and you could feel like, well, you've never been treated this way. Well, okay, it's time for you to start getting treated better. Don't just settle for somebody treating you badly, or someone treating you not the way that God would intend for you to be treated as His child. You need to really believe in yourself and know that God has better for you. Even if you can't see it, even if you can't imagine it, Faith is the hope of things unseen. You don't have to see what God is going to do to know that he will do it, because God is a God that he cannot lie. When he promises you something, I have to say this because it just clicked in my mind, but it's just like when Moses led the people, and in the Bible it says the promised land. And a lot of people say promise instead of promised with the ed on the end. And it's so funny because we forget that God has already promised us something, meaning that we already have it. He's just waiting for us to get ready to receive it. It's already something that he's already planned for our lives, something better that is already to come. It's not like we have to sit there and be like, oh, if God's going to do it. No, when God is going to do it, because it's at an appointed time. It's when he sees fit. It's when we're ready. It's when we are done going through whatever part of the journey that's going to grow us, that's going to evolve us, that's going to transform us in the way that God intended us to, so that we can receive the blessings that he has for us. He can't give us anything prematurely. He doesn't want us to be in that relationship, even if the guy seems like he's got it all going on. Why would he want to give you something like that if you're not ready? You will eventually hurt the person, or the person will hurt you because you're not ready. And them waiting for you might make them miss the person that actually is for them. And, you know, people say, I don't know if this is true or not, but you will know when someone's interested in you. I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know. Like, people come on to me all the time, but I don't know if I know what an interested person looks like. Because let me tell you, I've said this before and people are probably like, "What?" But I have never had a person be intentional in a relationship with me ever. And when I say ever, can I say that in good conscience without it seeming like it's an unintentional lie? Since I have become single for the past 2 years, 2 years and a month, whatever else, I have not had one person be intentional and say, these are the things that I want, and intentionally try to get to know me. Can I say that? Okay. I've had people try to get to know me, but one instance I said all the wrong things. I don't know what was going on. It's just like something was just like, this is not going to work out, regardless of what you do. I literally said all the wrong things. I don't know what was happening. Like, usually I'm a good communicator, and I'm like really good at conversing with others and everything else. And I always say I have to work on communication because I want to be a good communicator, so that when I'm talking to people, I'm listening to them. When I'm talking to them, I am, I'm carrying on a decent conversation and things like that. And I usually am pretty good at it, but I don't know if it's because I like this person or what, but I was a hot mess. It was crazy. I was like, why did I even say that? It was bad, but I mean, it is what it is. You got to live and learn. And I guess, like, one of my older family members said that, well, when it's a person that you're supposed to be with, maybe it'll be something where it won't be like you just say something wrong out of nowhere. Like, I'm just like, it was like I wasn't even trying to self-sabotage or anything. I don't know if it's just like the trait that I had, because I'm used to pushing people away. And so I was just like, it was like a knee-jerk reaction or something. I don't know what it was, but it was just like, I was like, why did I even say that? And it's like, from the moment I met this person, the person who I actually liked, it was just like, I said everything wrong. I did all the wrong things, said all the wrong things. It was just a hot mess. I was like, what in the world is happening? It's like I was going through some spiritual warfare. It was just crazy. I was like, I mean, is this person that bad that I need to run? Like, I don't know what's happening. And it was just a lot. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah. And then the people who were decent people, or people that I was just kind of like you know, not a good fit. It was really easy having conversations with those people. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, maybe it was like the pressure that I put on myself. I don't know. But it just seemed like spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, there was just so much warfare going on just because I like this person. And I was like, I mean, is the whole world against this? I don't understand what's happening. Like, it just felt like nothing could work out. Like, it just was just always the wrong time. Like, no matter what was happening, everything was like was wrong. But everything was the wrong time. I was saying the wrong things. I was doing the wrong things. I was just like, what did I like? I know I haven't really like dated or talked about anybody in 15 years, but oh my gosh, like what is happening right now? But yeah, it was crazy. But I'm saying that because, and the point of me saying that is, you really do have to wait on God. You can't just do things on your own time. You can't just try to create your own story. Now, you could do the things that you can control, but for me, I want to seek God and allow God to be in control of my life. I just want to be along for the ride. I want to allow God to take me wherever it is He intends for me to go, to meet the people that He intends for me to meet, and be with the person that He intends for me to be with. I don't want to be with somebody that doesn't want to be with me. That's what I do know for sure. I don't want to try to convince somebody that I'm a beautiful, smart, intelligent person, woman of God, who is trying to do better but will never be perfect. I don't need to try to convince somebody of that. The person who is for me is going to know that there's something special about me, that they want to actually get to know me, that they want to be intentional. This is what I feel in my spirit. Now, I have never been in a healthy relationship or anything. So, you know, this is just me, saying things that feel right in my soul. So so I just feel like it's just gonna be a thing where it just happens. I don't think it's gonna be like a forced thing. I don't think it's gonna be a thing where, you gotta try to chase somebody down or, convince someone that you're something that you already are. I don't think that someone is gonna try to make you feel badly about who you are just to make themselves feel better because of insecurity. I really feel like it's gonna be a person who, if God's in it, it'll just work. And I want to stay focused. I don't want to like all of a sudden just be like, "Oh, so off course and just about this person or something like that." Like I want to make sure that I always remember to love myself, that I always remember to take care of myself, that I remember that I'm an actual individual person, before this relationship, while I'm in this relationship and everything else. Like I want to make sure that God is number one in my life and that I'm always seeking His face before anything else, that I'm always seeking Him above all else. That no matter what's happening around me, no matter what changes happen, no matter how hard it gets, or what spiritual, emotional, psychological warfare that I have to journey through, that God is always the first thing on my mind. When I want to run and call somebody else, I call God first. When I'm heartbroken or, something happens in my life, I want to make sure that I'm calling God first. When I'm in like a crossroads and I just don't know what decision to make, I want to call God first. I don't want to be trying to reach out to somebody else who's going to give me bad advice or is not in my situation. They don't know what I'm going through. They don't know how I'm feeling, and when you really try to go after something that God's not allowing you to be in at that season, at that time, it really does make you feel insecure because God is my security. He really does provide the security for you because when you know that you know that you know that God's in something, it's something about God being there that just makes me feel like everything's going to be okay. You know, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. It doesn't matter how they talk, how they walk, how they speak, what they try to do. Like if God's there with me, and I'm seeking God and I'm doing the things that I need to do, God is taking care of everything else. And this is like a little side note. This is like a little shameless plug. No, I'm not going to do that. But so the video before this, I don't know if it's going to come out before this or it might be way before. I don't know yet. But it depends on what God puts on my spirit. But but yes, this is the hairstyle that I ended up doing. So the last video you saw my hair like all blown out. It's like a little quick, like 5-minute video or something like that. But I was getting ready to do my hair and get ready for church and everything else. And then, I just decided to do like this quick style. It's goddess braids, but it's like really like super big jumbo braids. So I think it's like 5 braids all together. So the hair is like this long, but I have like the goddess things in there. That's why you see it like this. So what I did was I took all of the sections together and I wrapped it in a ball and I put a hair bow on it. And then the rest of the hair that was hanging down, I just put to the side like this. So that's how it came out. I didn't like intentionally do this. I knew I was going to wear it in a ball and I was going to do like one of the pieces down right here and maybe on the other side. So it would be just like 2 spirals and then the rest would be back in the ball. But when I went to go put this up before I pinned it, it was like this. And I was like, oh, I kind of like that. Okay, I'm going to wear it like this today. But yeah, I just decided to do some quick braids because I have this class and when I'm doing my class, my hair kind of gets like a little messy and stuff. So I was like, let me do something quick that I can wear it like I can wear my hair like this for a week. And then when I go to my class, I could just change it out, you know. And then the following week, I'll wash my hair because I usually try to wash or co-wash. I wash it every 2 weeks. I try to co-wash every week because I have to get the stuff out of my hair from the class that I'm taking. I know y'all are like, what kind of class are you taking that you gotta keep on washing your hair or you're changing and stuff? But I'll tell you when God tells me to tell you. But it's just one of those things that I was afraid to do. And while I'm single, and even when I get in a relationship, I want to do stuff like this. But while I'm single, I want to maximize. I know I've been listening to AO so much. That's why I keep on saying maximizing your single season. But but I really do want to maximize this time. I really want to, get my house in order. I want to make sure I got like the will and, everything else, life insurance, whatever else it is that I need to do to make sure that my family is good. I want to make sure that any debt that is lingering or anything that's around that I want to pay off, ahead of time or whatever else, I can do it because I'm being a good steward of my finances. I want to make sure that when God sends a person, I'm not just trying to get rushed to get ready while that person is there. I'm already constantly working on myself. I'm already trying to be a better person. I'm already being intentional with my life. And the only way that I can get my house in order is to live biblically. Why can't I say this word? Biblically. That's the only way I will be able to live the life that God intended for me to live. If I'm staying focused on Him, if I'm being obedient, if I'm serving, if I'm being intentional, if I am every single season that God gives me in my life, if I am maximizing every single season, that is the only way I can have the best life. Because it's so easy to be like, oh, I can't wait to be in a relationship. I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to be sick. Whatever it is that you feel like you need to wait to live life for, is something that is gonna, it's not you living your best life. You living your best life is you doing everything that you can at every single season that you're in. Like while I'm single, I want to be taking classes. I want to be being a good steward of my finances. I want to do this in a relationship as well. But I want to be intentional with my life. Every day I want to be serving in my purpose. I want to be doing something to help somebody else, or I want to be doing something that's speaking life into other people. I need to be doing something so that I am maximizing the life that God has given me. I don't want to just do it for just this season. I want to do it every single step of my journey in life. I want to make sure that I'm focused on God and that I'm maximizing it, that I'm utilizing every single instrument that God has given me. If God has given me a place like this room that I have to be creative, then I need to be creating something. If God has given me a building where, I'm working with other people and we are helping people in the community or whatever else, then I need to be helping people. I don't need to be waiting and saying, oh no, I hope next month we can just put this off a week or whatever else. No, we need to be doing this right now because I don't know how much time I have. And every single day that God gives me that I am able to breathe in and out, that the blood is flowing through my veins, that I'm able to speak, is for me to speak life into somebody. It's for me to be intentional with my life. It's as long as I have all my limbs, as long as God is allowing me to have functionality and all of the body parts that I have that I need to be able to flourish in my life and to do whatever it is that He needs me to do for me to prosper in my life, then I need to be doing it. I don't need to be waiting until tomorrow. Why put off tomorrow what you could be doing today? Seriously. Sometimes I'll be in there in my room or somewhere else in the house and I'll be like, Oh, I'll just wash clothes tomorrow. And God will say, why? Why am I waiting until tomorrow? Like, am I that arrogant and thinking that I have another day? Because I can't ask for another minute, hour, year, whatever else. All I can do is just take advantage of the time that I have right now. I can't say I'll teach my daughter this tomorrow. I need to be teaching her that now. I need to be speaking life into her now. I can't say I'll spend time with my family tomorrow. If I have the ability to call them, if I have their number, if I can get in contact with them, if they come and cross my mind, then I need to be reaching out to them. I don't need to be waiting until tomorrow because tomorrow might never come. You know, as long as you have the ability to do whatever it is that you get to do in your life. Like I was saying one day, I was coming home from work and I go past all of these cool places and I'm like, one day I want to go there. And God is like, why are you waiting to do it? And I was like, you're absolutely right. There's nothing stopping me from doing this right now. Why am I not doing this right now? And I did it and I enjoyed myself. I had fun and it was really cool, especially if you have the ability to do things like that. Why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Don't wait on the person to be in a relationship to do those things that you want to do. If you want to test drive a Corvette, go test drive a Corvette if it's in your budget. If your finances allow you to do that, go do it. You don't have to wait for a guy so that you can, especially if you're a woman. Sometimes you're like, oh, well, they might judge me or something like that. I don't care if they judge me or not. If I want to go test out this race car and do like some donuts or something, then I'm probably going to do it because I'm trying to maximize the season of my life to the most that I possibly can in the season. In my entire life, not even just the season. Every single time I get to breathe, I want to maximize that time in my life, that moment in my life. If I could be grateful in that moment, I need to be grateful. I don't need to be complaining about how I don't have this or I don't have that. Like, it would be so easy for me to be like, oh, well, I'm not in a relationship. Oh, no. And I don't mean to say it like that and then, like, make it seem like I'm trying to make people feel badly for feeling that way because you will feel moments like that in your life because you are not perfect. And you do desire certain things for yourself, and it's fine to desire that. But don't allow that to stop you from living within your purpose, from fulfilling your life. Because if you keep waiting on somebody else, that day might never come. And I'm not saying that to be make you hopeless or anything like that. I'm just saying live your life as if you don't know what's going to happen next because we really don't know. And while you spend all of this time waiting, when you look back and you get in a relationship, you might be one of those people that's like, oh, I wish I was single because I would be able to do blah. I wish I was single because I've never got to go on a solo trip, go on a mini trip. I've never got to take such and such classes because I just hopped right into a relationship and now I'm married. Now I got kids. And it's just like the time that you had by yourself that you took for granted, you never got an opportunity to do those things that you could have been doing if you had been maximizing your season. Like sometimes we really just have that grass is greener syndrome where we just feel like everything is better than what it is that you have. How about we start thinking about what we have is the best? Because some people would trade their life for what we have. Some people couldn't imagine, you know, it's just we really take for granted the things that we're blessed with all the time. We take advantage of the single season. We take advantage of the relationship season. We take advantage of, children, everything else. Some people are trying so hard to have children. And there's some people who just can't stand their kids or just treat them like really horribly. And it's just like, do you know how many rounds of IVF and you know, the myths and all of these things that some people have to go through that don't get the opportunity to be parents in that way? I'm not saying that adoptive parents aren't parents. Of course they are. Any way that you could help and be a parent to a child, even if it's somebody in the neighborhood, is a blessing, especially when you're a good person who is helping them. And so just be grateful for what you have. Sometimes it's so easy to just complain and just feel like you're missing something, but that's the adversary. That is not God. God will never make you feel lackful, make you feel at lack of something, or make you feel like you're missing anything. That's the adversary trying to play you like he played Eve in the garden, making you think that you don't have everything that you need, and you do. If you are grateful of the few things that you have, if you're a good steward of the few things that you have, or if you are being obedient and trusting God and just cherishing the things that you have in this moment, even though it's not everything that you desire. Can you imagine what God could do in your life since you're being grateful, since you're being obedient, since you are being trustworthy? God would do exceedingly and abundantly above all else that you could ever ask, think, or imagine. So, why are you worried? Is it helping you? Is it going to add to your life? Is it going to make this season better because you're complaining or worrying? No, it's not helping you at all. All it's doing is just stressing you. It's making you more concerned about things that you can't even control. So why worry? So I don't want to make this too long, and I do want to. I was starting to get tired, and then I got this burst of energy when I was about to do this. Thank you, Jesus. And so I was like, let me hop on here and then be serving and intentional and just be here doing whatever it is that God needs me to do, because I do these videos and I really don't know how it's going to go. Like, I have a word that's like, I'll hear it in a sermon, or, I'll spend time with God and it'll be like a one word or something that comes out, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess this is it. And then I pray about it. I make sure that God is leading me. I don't want it to just be the Nisha show. I want to make sure that it's the God show. I want to make sure it's all about giving all honor and glory to God. That ever since He saved me, I mean, even before He saved me, but ever since I rededicated my life to God, I promised God that I would stay focused on Him. And I did get distracted last year. I had a moment of weakness where I really wanted this thing that wasn't for me. And I was so ashamed, I just felt like I got so far and God brought me through so much. And I can't believe that I got distracted in this moment like this. And, God is a forgiving God, full of grace and mercy. And so He just, of course, was just like, He just needed me to admit it and to continue to seek Him and to know that He got it. Like, don't worry about it. And I don't even know what made me even feel worried, because I know it's like I had this spiritual amnesia. Like, I just felt like I was going to be missing out on something. Like, this was the only opportunity. This was the only God. This was the only thing. Like, as if God isn't the God of abundance and He doesn't have 50 more things exactly like this in the back, in the back stock, in the stock room, Like, God is shipping out good people like it's nothing, because He will supply all your needs. It's not like I'm ever gonna be at I'm ever gonna want for anything, you know? So why even worry? Why even feel that way in the first place? And I don't know how I got to that point. I just got so distracted and just so like, I don't know what it was. It's like the enemy attacked me in a dream. And from there, he just constantly kept manipulating me for like 8 full months. And it wasn't constantly every day. It was like I would be good and I would be obedient to God, but in the back of my mind, I would just feel like I was missing something. I would feel like, maybe God just forgot about me. Maybe He just thinks that I don't deserve it and this is the punishment that He was always going to give me. But God isn't a God that He wants you to live a miserable life. He wants you to be joyous and happy. But all I could think about was how I was going to be missing out and how God just forgot about me, and that, maybe He doesn't want me to have this, but God doesn't lie. It's the enemy that lies. And he was really playing on my insecurity. He was really playing on all of these things from the past that really hurt me, or things that would have took me out before I had God in my life. If God wasn't with me in those 8 months, if God wasn't with me, there's no way I could have made it, because I probably would have ended up in an insane asylum. And I know it sounds like so over the top, Like, why does it have to be so extreme? But I can't imagine how I could have mentally held it together when Satan was using every single spiritual weapon that he could against me. He was using every psychological, every emotional, every spiritual tool that he possibly could to stop me from talking on these videos, to stop me from speaking life into other people. He made me feel like maybe my voice doesn't matter. He made me feel like, well, if I'm not good enough for this person, then maybe God chose the wrong person for this. He really made me feel like maybe I just need to be closed off and never allow any person to be around me ever again. But I can't be in my purpose helping people and not allow them to see a part of me. Because who wants to open up to that? You know? If it wasn't for God, I don't know how I could have made it through that 8 months. It was so hard. I just really felt like, but this person seems perfect. This job seems perfect. This thing seems perfect. Why is it that God doesn't want me to have it? Is he holding something back from me? And God would never do that. The only time that he would put something on pause, because if he promised it, you're going to get it because it's promised. It's already been done. I just didn't know that it had already been done for me. Like, I could see it for other people. I could see other people get these types of things. But for me, I had never seen it before. But you can't have faith if you're looking for a blueprint, if you're looking for an example of something that God is going to do that's different than anything that he's done in anybody else's life. You have to be the blueprint. Sometimes you're the blueprint. Sometimes you're the person who's going to set the example for people to come, for generations to come. And you can't find an example anywhere because you're the example. I really, I really asked for forgiveness from God for those 8 months. And it wasn't constant. It was just, it might be one day, and then 3 days later, I would feel like a little stronger. I would feel like, okay, I got this. And then this person would come out of nowhere and they would text or call, or, it would be this job or something else, like ever so often. And I could just feel myself getting unfocused. I could feel myself getting distracted. And I kept trying to refocus myself on God. And the more I would keep fighting, you could see me in some of these videos in the past. I don't know exactly which videos they are, but I really had some rough spiritual warfare days, emotional, psychological warfare days, where it just felt like I didn't know how I was going to continue. But I had told God that he could use me. I told him that I would be ready because I know that as long as I have him, that I'm going to have to be ready for a fight. I can't just lay down because too many people are depending on me. I can't be the example for those generations to come, for my daughter, for other women, men who don't feel like they're enough if I give up. If I allow one person to tell me that I'm not enough, I'll never be able to change the world. And it was that kept pushing me forward. It was God that kept pushing me forward and letting me know that, hey, it's bigger than you. It's not just about you. It's about all of these other women. It's about all of these other people who need to hear this, who need to know that they're good enough, need to know that just because your ex, another person that you encountered, just because of a job, just because of your childhood, it doesn't matter who or what has said something to you to make you feel like you don't deserve what God has for you. You do deserve it. And it doesn't matter how many fake people you meet. It doesn't matter how many people try to tell you that you're not good enough or show you that you don't deserve to be treated the way that God intended you to be treated. You do deserve that, because God has so much better for you than for you to be treated like an option. He never intended for you to be breadcrumbed or, gaslighted or any of the other terms that are out there. He intended for you to be treated the way that he intended you to be treated. For you to be treated like Christ loves the church. For you to be treated with love and kindness and compassion and understanding without keeping records of wrongs. He intended for you to be treated like a child of God, not like a doormat or, you know, something else that is treated really badly. He intended for you to have all of the things that He has just for you. It's not for anybody else. You don't have to worry about that person beside you. You don't have to worry about that other guy, that other woman, that other job, that other whatever it is. If it's for you, it's for you. You don't ever have to be in competition with anything for it. You don't have to ever do the most to get it. All you have to do is be obedient to God and He will give it to you. Stay faithful and God will give it to you. Continue to just seek the kingdom of God and all of its righteousness, and everything will be given unto you. Everything your heart desires. You feel like it won't happen because it hasn't happened in the past. That's because it's waiting on you. You have to believe in yourself. You have to know that God is who He says He is in order to receive it. You have to be willing to become better. You can't just be a toxic person expecting to have one of God's children. You can't just be this person who's broken on the inside and feels like it's too hard to face it. It is hard to face it, but you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I'm telling you, like I used to just be willing to give up, like, okay, all right, whatever. But I had to get geared up for the fight. I had to put on my full armor every single day, ready for whatever it is that the adversary has for me. No matter what person comes my way, no matter what trial or tribulation or storm comes my way, I have to know that the rain makes a rainbow. I have to know that anything that I'm going through is helping to break things off of me and build me into a better, stronger person so that I could be a soldier in the army of God, so that I could be geared up and ready for a fight. I cannot back down. I can't allow any person to tell me who I am because I know whose I am. And I will always remember who I am because I am seeking God. And God already created me worthy. I don't have to prove anything to anybody else. Just God.